What's going on, traders? It's Ricky with techbud Solutions. I want to thank you guys again for joining us for another video for the making of the millionaire. For those that are joining us for the first time and don't know what this series is, you can simply make your way to my YouTube channel, and then there is the making of the millionaire series. I pretty much talk about capturing my whole experience from where I am now to working towards actually making $1 million a year. That is something that I am not actively making a year right now, but when it comes down to all my assets, I mean, that comes down to be a different story. So let's go ahead and get right to the topic. So for this series of the making of the millionaire, I'm going to be talking about how to reach out, to your first investor and kind of how it is my approach. This isn't going to be the only way that you can do it. I'm just going to be talking about my own experience and give you guys a very simple breakdown. If you guys want a better understanding, then I'd be more than happy to make another video on this specific topic. But I just wanted to let you guys know, because of the series of different things that I'm going to be doing within the next couple of months, I do have some active investors, and I'm investing myself. So not only can I talk about what investors like based on what I've presented before, but as well as what I like to see. So if I wanted to invest in your specific idea, how that kind of works out. So For those that are asking, what is an investor? An investor is someone that, risk or invest money in your specific type of business or venture that you're trying to start, an effort for them to see an actual return, and you pretty much do all the work. So, the way that I approach it now is the way that I actually do it more often is I'm the one that's actively investing in a lot of members within techbud Solutions. So a lot of members within techbud Solutions, are looking for different avenues of income. They excel when it comes to, day trading. They excel when it comes down to, just doing different things on the side. Sometimes they just need a little bit more capital to get started to make it a little bit more efficient. And then that's where I come into play. I can offer my different resources. I can offer the exposure that I have and kind of my whole mentality. And that's the value that I think I offer when it comes down to me partnering up with members within techbud Solutions, an effort to invest in their ideas and their business and their ventures to see a specific return, but as well help them get started a little bit quicker and at least offer the proper guidance or just experience that I have when it comes down to investing in those specific markets. I feel like I have a pretty decent understanding in a series of different marketplaces, and that's where I think I excel in. So for those that are watching me for the first time, you guys might be thinking, well, Ricky, I thought you were just a day trader. Day trading is only a small thing of what I do when it comes to my multiple sources of income, and that's something that I am very transparent about. That day trading isn't my only source of income. techbud Solutions is a huge part of what it is that I do, but I don't actually make any money off of it because I provide it all for free. So what I do in return is for those that I see potential in, and if they see the value that I can provide, I choose to partner up with them. And then that's the approach that I take. And is there anything wrong with that? I don't think there is, because they believe in what it is that I can create and I can do for them, as well as vice versa. So let's go ahead and get started. And how to find an investor. That's kind of like the first thing that you guys might be asking yourself. An investor are lucky enough to at a very early age to have their parents that have a good amount of money and can fund them enormous amount of money without actually any of these kind of things that we're going to be talking about. A lot of us don't have that specific blessing and able to have parents that are extremely wealthy, that if we want to start a multi-million-dollar business, we're not just given $1 million. There's nothing wrong with those that do have access to that. More power to them, and they can get started much earlier. But that's why you see people that are wealthy, their sons or their children end up becoming wealthy as well, with less work required because they didn't need to do all the dog work. And it comes down to understanding that we all come from different foundations. It's just making the most of where it is that you come from. So the way that I found myself to be exposed to the most investors is I was trying to do the best I could do in everything that I put my mind to. When it came down to trading stocks, when it came down to my investment properties, when it came down to the series of businesses, people really saw value in what it is that I was doing. And then that's when investors started reaching out to me and asking, hey, if you ever need any capital. It started very small with about like $10,000 to $20,000 offering, a specific return. But now it has led to, hundreds of thousands of dollars that, investors are willing to, invest not only in me, but in the ideas that I see value in, because of the type of credibility that I've built for myself and how I was able to establish myself from just working a normal 9 to 5 and then kind of being able to do so much from it. But again, I've made numerous videos on how I was able to do that, saving all my money, consistency, and trying to be the best I can in everything that I choose to pursue. So how to find an investor? We all excel in different markets, and that's 100% something that you guys have to understand. So what works for me isn't always going to work for you, and that does not mean that every investor that sees value in me in that specific market, if you do exactly what it is that I do, that doesn't mean that you're going to get the same return. So understand that by doing what it is that you love and by trying to be the best in that specific market in your own unique way, investors will most likely follow because they see the following. They see the potential return that you can provide for them. And once they see the return and the numbers make sense, then it's obvious that an investor would see value in what it is that you can bring to the table. So now it says, the second thing is going to be identify your niche. So what I mean by that, again, understand what you do well in. I receive, just hundreds of messages every single day with the different platforms that I have available. And one of the most common things that I get asked is, hey, Ricky, what would be the first market that you would suggest for me to get started in? And that's such a generic question because I'm very motivated in doing multiple things at once. Not everyone is willing to do that. I get the very common questions like, what's the easiest market to do well in? I want to start making $10,000 to $15,000 every single month. Guys, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't come down to, if a market was so easy to be successful in, then everyone would be doing it. So that's a very generic question, and something that you want to ask yourself is not what's the market that is the easiest to get done, but what's the market that you see the most value in and that you would enjoy spending your time into. For a lot of people, it might be the buying and reselling of different products. For other people, it might be e-commerce. For other people, it might be digital marketing. For other people, it might be trading. For other people, it might just be the avid investing in different businesses because they have a specific technique that can help them identify potential and how it can grow. Some people are really good team builders, and that's something that a lot of people see value in, because if you can build a quality team, it's not you that has to have all the talent, but it's the team that you put together that can work together and can perform and express everything it is that you want them to do. And that creates a very successful company. So you might want to do a little bit more research on how to identify your niche, but make sure it's something that you're passionate about and something that when someone sees how hard you're working and how good you are in that specific niche, then they most likely will see value in what it is that you want to achieve. And the whole point of an investor is to make it happen a little bit quicker, right? If you need more capital to get started at a specific time, you might have to give away a certain percentage of the return that you're going to be seeing, but you're going to be seeing a much greater return because you have more capital to get started. So I hope that makes sense to you. The third thing is going to be credible and be honest. When it comes down for me taking an approach and trying to build my credibility when it comes to different investors, I make sure that I provide them, actual data on, how I was successful in my first 2 investment properties, how I'm successful when it comes to trading, how I'm successful in the buying and reselling of different products, how I'm successful in the different businesses that I own. And I show them real proof on, what it is that I do. And being able to provide that specific proof or data, numbers don't lie. And if you can provide an actual, just formula or specific numbers that comes down to like, well, look, if I have this much capital, these people are doing the same thing. I believe I can do it this way. And, we can see this return. And if you invest in me, I can give you 60% of it, and I'll only be making 40, but I want you to understand that these are all the numbers that I have presented for you. This is what I believe that I can do for you. What is it that you say? So it comes down to understanding that not everyone's going to find you extremely credible. Not everyone is going to know who it is that you are, and that's what you have to work so hard in building your credibility and making sure that you come off on the right foot. And what I mean by that, if you're already like all over the place, not prepared, or don't really have a real understanding on what it is that you're choosing to invest in, understand that a majority of us do not come from extremely wealthy families. And like those that do come from extremely wealthy families, the parents don't really that if they don't have that credibility because they're family, so they're going to invest the money in the family so they can do good. Understand that when you're reaching out to an investor, it's much different. You want to make sure that you provide value and it's easy for them to see. You want to make sure that it's all clear and transparent that you are a hard worker, that you are disciplined when it comes to wanting to be successful, and they can see the passion and it's expressed through the work and the message that you're trying to create or provide, not only for the investor but for the people that you're trying to build this value for. So I think that's one of the most important things, because it's like if there's no real return in what is it you're trying to create, an investor might not actually ever invest in you, because if there's not a real return, then the risk isn't going to be worth it for them. But if they can see that you're driven and you're truly passionate about what it is that you're choosing to pursue, I know a lot of you guys really thank me and amazed by my passion and my drive to with everything it is that I choose to pursue. And it comes down with bringing my own. That's kind of the fourth one. So bring your own character and bring your own style to the table. Understand that we are all different. If you guys want to do exactly what it is that I do, even if I provide you guys step by step on how I got investor A to invest in my idea, it does not mean that it's going to work for you. And understand that we all come from different backgrounds, we're all in different locations, and there's always different investors, and there's different things that turn them off and turn them on. But one of the best things that you can do when it comes down to bringing in an investor and making sure that they see value in what it is that you're choosing to pursue, then bring your own style and your own kind of techniques and approach to the specific market that you want to excel in. And what I mean by that is, again, if you want to invest in any market, set up a game plan on how you're going to be successful and how you're going to be different, and let your just character and how unique you are be expressed within that whole game plan on how you're going to be successful. Now, second to last thing is provide quality return. And what I mean by that, a lot of people sometimes are very greedy when it comes down to like, well, look, I have an amazing idea. This is my business. I'm so passionate about this specific business. But if you invest $100,000 in my idea, not even 100,000, let's say $10,000, I'll give you a 2% return every single month. And again, not having no credibility for a majority of you, right? If you guys are watching this video, you guys might be just starting out. I don't mean to subjugate you, but understanding that you have no true credibility regardless of how passionate you are about this specific company. Understand that you have no real credibility, and for someone to invest their hard-earned money into the product or idea or service that you're trying to create, you're gonna have to give up some of that return for them to understand or make sure that that risk is worth it for them. And the best way to be able to do that is to be like, look, I'm 100% just certain that this is going to work. These are all the numbers. And just because I value you so much as an investor, I will give you 60% of the return. I take 40 and I'll do all the work. And it's as simple as that. But again, there's a lot more that comes to it when it comes down to, what I mean by, provide quality return is don't be greedy when it comes down to trying to set up a plan on like, hey, invest $100,000 in me and I'll give you $10,000 back. That return might not even be worth it for them because of, you have no credibility and you're just starting out, and you're already feeling like you kind of run this whole thing, when again, in their eyes, and I'm not saying that I think that, but in their eyes, you're still no one. And although you know that you're going to be extremely successful, don't let that investor fall through because of your ego and because of your greediness. When it comes down to a certain dollar return, understand that money will come down the road and that money will follow. And don't let the beginning stages be something that holds you back or act as an obstacle, when all you really need to do is to get that money to get started. And if an investor doesn't see the value in that or doesn't see the return based on the initial investment, then they might not even actually ever invest in your idea because you're being too greedy or your ego is too high that you're not willing to give up any percentage of your specific company. Therefore, they're not going to be willing to help you. So again, you want to be sure that you're welcoming, that you're encouraging, and that they're going to see a quality return when it comes down to them investing hard-earned money. They're going to see a return in their hard-earned money that they're investing in you. And then the last thing is ask for feedback. This is probably the whole point that I'm asking this is a lot of you guys are just starting out. And I'm going to read all the comments right now. So please, if you guys can just focus, because the live stream's going on right now. So you guys are commenting. I'm not looking at any of them. I just see kind of names popping up on the left-hand side. So I'm not reading any of them. But what I want you guys to understand, when it comes down to reaching out to an investor, what I say by ask for feedback is, not every investor is going to see value that you're presenting, but understand that the best way to grow as an investor, or the best way to grow your business, is for future investors, so you don't make the same mistake that you might have made and you did not notice. Is just ask for feedback. What could have I done better, or why don't you want to invest in my specific, idea, service, or product? What would have made it a little bit more attractive for you? Therefore, that feedback that they give you can make it that much more clear on your next time reaching out to an investor or following up with this investor, that, okay, look, I fixed everything it is that you told me. Therefore, do you see a little bit more value in, the product or service that I'm trying to create? And the overall just quality and information that's being shared to build that value for, what it is that you're trying to create. And to the investor, it's made more clear that, you're not only repitching the same idea, because the pitch that you might have to pitch your business plan or pitch your venture is not the best. And the best way to understand, what you're doing wrong is to simply ask for feedback. Just like we do with techbud Solutions, when it comes to trading, what's the best way, to continue growing as a day trader? Well, it comes down to learning from your best practices, learning from your mistakes, and then continue growing and making sure you don't make the same mistakes again. And again, I know this is a very generic approach on how to approach investors, but I want you guys to understand that one of the biggest things when it comes down to actually reaching out to an investor is building the credibility, identifying your niche, being passionate about your niche, and making sure that you provide a quality return and that you're, in a sense, honest and just organized about what it is that you're going to try to create for them. And then if they say no, or regardless of what it is that they say, even if they say yes, ask for feedback. Ask, what would have made this, offer or opportunity that much better, just so I know, just so they know you're serious, just so they know that, you're really here, not to just, because there's two different, there's a series of different investors, but what I can think of is there's an investor that, they'll give you $20,000, let's say $20,000, and they expect a, 20% return. And if you give them that 20% return, then that's it. They call it a day and they move on to the next one. The type of investor that I am when it comes down to, a TechBud member approaching me to invest in their specific venture or idea, then it comes down to, me really not just wanting to invest my money in their idea or their business, but wanting to be a part of it. And I know those that are watching, and there's only a few of them, there's like a handful of investors or members that have actually invested in their product or idea, and they know that I like to be actively involved in the business and the venture that they're trying to create, because I don't just want to provide the money, but I want to be part of the movement. And I think the quality and the type of information that I can provide can be, in a sense, that can kind of guide the company in the right direction. And if it's not, then they can simply just tell me like, no, look, you're wrong. This is not the direction that we want to go, but at least I'm actively involved. And it's as simple as that. So I know this is a very simple understanding on how to reach out to investors. Just, I've been getting so many questions about, what the approach it is that I took. This is not a complete breakdown on, with the investors that I'm partnered with and, the ones that I'm going to continue to work with. But I just wanted to give you guys a general understanding that even, if you start at a young age and start building your credibility, once they see, how hardworking you are, and once they see that you're determined to be successful, and once they see that, you're actually seeing a return, they're going to want to be a part of that. If people see that you're being successful in a specific market, and if they believe that the money that they can provide you can only make you grow and then provide them a return as well, then why wouldn't they invest in you? But it comes down to you working hard and doing all the dog work first, because like I said, not everyone comes from, families that are willing to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in their, business. And understand those that don't, and like a majority of us, we have to work hard, and we have to make sure that we do all the dog work, we save enough money, and we work hard to build that credibility so an investor can see value in the product or service that we can create. And that's really just it. So again, guys, the link is down below for the free Facebook group. It's TechBud Solutions. We're a little bit over 36,000 members now worldwide. And the thing that we do best is we provide a clear and simple platform for both new and experienced traders. If you guys would like to be a part of that, the link again is down below. You guys are more than welcome to join or subscribe. It says Milky Assets. That's my property management company. So I still have 2 rooms available when it comes down to the rooms available that I'm going to be renting out for this fall semester here in Arizona. So if you'd like to be a part of that, the information is down below. And if you aren't following me on any of my social media accounts, again, the link is down below. So I'd love to be a part of your success. And I'm going to dedicate a couple minutes to answering some of your guys' questions within the live chat, because I'm sure some of you guys might have any. Please, let's just keep it to investing and this specific topic that we're talking about, and not about trading. Again, Sunday Stock Talk is tomorrow, so let's make sure that we keep those questions for then. I can't thank you guys enough for your time on this Saturday. I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. And I hope, you guys are really just working towards your goal, because that's all I want you guys to do. I don't charge you guys for any of the services or anything that is that, I have for you guys. I really just want you guys to have a general understanding on how my approach on, reaching out to investors and everything that it is that I do. So I hope I can continue making videos that you guys see value in. And the best way that I can do that is for you guys to recommend and direct message me, what videos you guys would like me to create. So let me go ahead and start answering some of your guys' questions. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, so Emmanuel Rodriguez says, awesome, how do you reach out to investors? This video, again, just explained all that. I don't mean to be rude, Emmanuel, but again, this video will repost, so I think you might want to watch the beginning of the video. So Early Bird Productions is asking, are you looking for any film work, brother? I'm personally not, as you guys can see, a lot of my videos that I try to do with edits of like my supercars or just my sports cars and different things like that, my vlogs don't do extremely well. And it's because my channel has to do more with investing, and I'd like to keep it that way. So I don't want to say, no, I'm not interested, but if you can email me, Early Bird Productions, on how you think that you can provide value to my channel and what it is that we can do with the specific niche of just investing videos that I make, then feel free to do so. But again, I'd like to stay within my niche and provide quality information for my subscribers. And investing is really what they like me to focus on. What tips can you give someone starting off in investing? Well, it depends. And this is by Jerison 0506. That's a very generic question. So there's different fields of investing. Are you investing in the market? Are you investing in the buying and reselling of different products? Or are you just an investor that's actually investing in businesses? So if you want to let me know, then I'd be more than happy to answer that question. Let's see. What do you think on vinyl stickers businesses? I think you're asking about like, what do I think about businesses that create vinyl stickers? Again, if you can find a niche and if you can find a margin of potential profit, then I say go for it, right? I never want to shut anyone down, but I think that specific market might be a little bit diluted. There's a lot of companies that are doing that. So if you think that you can do it in a unique way, then go for it. So Jerison says buying and selling products. So I'm a very conservative investor when it comes down to, I really like to understand what it is that I'm investing in, and I want to make sure that it's worth my time. As you guys know, I'm extremely busy with the different things that I do, and something that me and my roommates actively do is the buying and reselling of motorcycles, because in this market and in this area that we're in, it's very easy for us to be able to buy them and flip them, and there's a nice return, and we've been able to identify that return. So that's just something that we focus on when it comes to the buying and reselling of different things. But people buy and resell everything. So if you want to focus to something like, aside from bikes that have about, well, the bikes with, investing about $3,000, we tend to see about an average of $500 to $750 return per bike. So I'd say, it's about, what is that? On average, about a 20% return. So I think that's pretty big, especially for the $3,000 investment. But if there's multiple products, we have people that buy and resell so many different things. As long as you see that there's a margin for profit, and as long as you guys can see that you guys can do it consistently, then why not do it? It just comes down to dedicating the time, identifying the market, setting up a plan on how much money you're going to need and how you're going to do it, and where you're going to sell it, and if the demand is there, and then just go for it. So again, make sure you manage your risk and do it within your own means, but it's not extremely difficult, especially when you do your dog work and you dedicate time to do it. Mayweather or McGregor? I personally want McGregor. I'm a huge UFC fan, especially all my roommates. We're actually thinking of, one of my roommates was like, we should probably fly out to Las Vegas to go watch the UFC fight. It's extremely expensive, and if you guys know anything about me, I definitely would not pay thousands of dollars to watch that fight when I can go to Buffalo Wild Wings and watch it for free on the video. So we might go to Las Vegas just to be close to that area. But again, I would like McGregor to most likely win. I think it'd be pretty cool. My dad wants to open a restaurant, but he has the fear of losing so much money. Please help us. That's by Royal. Again, I don't have any experience when it comes down to actually opening restaurants or anything like that. That's not that. If you guys see everything that I kind of try to invest in, I don't want to say it's all online, but it has to do with kind of like a unique way on young people being able to flip things very quickly. Restaurants, it's not something that I'm extremely knowledgeable about, or really knowledgeable about at all. So I can't give you really any true advice. One of the things that I can suggest, or at least guide you in the right direction, is to reach out to other business owners that might be owning restaurants in that specific niche that you're trying to be successful in, and what has led to their success. So ask them, and what were some of their mistakes. Ask them, and then you can build your business off of that. Therefore, you can avoid all those mistakes and focus on the best practices that they might have for you. Understand that it's not going to be a perfect picture for you, but at least you'll have a better general understanding on how to be successful in that specific market. Again, knowledge is key when it comes down to trying to be the most or the most successful in that specific market, and why make the same mistakes that hundreds of other people have made already. Just ask what's their mistakes and what were the best practices. And I'm sure if they see a young individual wanting to open their own restaurant, they'll encourage that, right? We investors and entrepreneurs, we want other people to be successful, but we're not going to disclose all the numbers and stuff like that, but if we can provide some sort of guidance that can guide you in the right direction, then that's huge. How much did you study before trading? Well, if you guys, again, we're not going to be answering any videos or any questions about stocks, but if you guys saw, when I initially started trading at a very early age, I lost pretty much my entire account when I first started. I went to paper trading, and then I built myself off of that. So that's why I always suggest first start paper trading and simulation trading, and then move on up. Once you prove to yourself that you can be a profitable day trader, then move yourself over again to a brokerage account where you could start investing your own money. All right. There's a guy that keeps saying my wife left me. Sorry about that. Say hello, Sarah Flack, please. What's up, Gonzalo Silva? Thank you so much for your answer. I'm 15 years old and I'm currently working on my Shopify business. That's huge. And guys, okay, I'm gonna end it like this because there's a couple of you guys watching me and I just wanna end it on a good note. But when it comes down to, I'm catching a lot of people at a very early age. And if I look at the demographics within my YouTube analytics, it says that the average person that watches my video is 25 to 34. I really don't think that's true. Although I think I do capture a lot of people that are a little bit older than I am. I really think that there's a good amount of people that are much younger than I am that are watching this video, but just sign up under accounts that say that they're older. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I want you guys to understand that for the best, I think, guidance that I can offer someone that's trying to start at a very early age is the best way to be successful in a specific market is to reach out to those that are already successful in that specific market and ask, what led to their success, have specific questions, and what were some failures, and have some specific questions. So you already have to be somewhat knowledgeable about that market to ask those questions. So make sure you do your own DD work and don't just ask, I don't want to say dumb questions, but don't just ask questions that you can find on Google. Ask specific questions on your specific niche that you have a passion for and that you want to be successful, and then ask people that are already successful in that market. If you're a young individual, or even if you're older, the best thing that I can recommend is people will respect you going out of your way and reaching out to them. Not everyone is going to answer you, but those that do can be the difference of being and achieving that form of success much quicker. And again, it comes down to exposure. It comes down to understanding what works and what doesn't. And those that have made it or are making it can share that with you. But it comes down to reaching out to them to be exposed to that knowledge. That's one of the best recommendations that I can have. Now, the way that I'm going to end this video is I am working on a feature or a platform, not 100% what is I'm going to be calling it. It's aside from techbud solutions, and it's aside from the lesson library that I'm going to be creating for when it comes down to trading. But it comes down for the people that want to jump on conference calls with me and want to answer or ask me specific questions. I've been getting so many requests to be able to jump on one-to-one calls and how I'm going to do it. People say that they'll pay me, hundreds if not thousands of dollars, and that's not what I want. When it comes down to, actually having one-to-ones with individuals, I want to provide it again, kind of like, and I know, I don't want to charge people hundreds of dollars. I don't want to charge people thousands of dollars for my time. I want to catch people at the very beginning stages and guide them in the right direction or spark that interest. So I think the best way to do that is to provide it and make it accessible for a large number of people. And I think the best way to do that is to make sure that it's worth my time that I'm going to be dedicating to that call, as well as that it's going to be worth it for the specific individual that wants to be successful in a specific market, that they think I can guide them in the right direction. So I am working on a specific platform that will be able to do this for you and allow me to connect with you. Again, I'm letting you know that I don't jump on conference calls with anybody. So if someone is saying, because we've received numerous emails from people saying that, there's someone pretending to be me and asking for personal information. I never ask for personal information. I don't ask for money. I don't charge for any of the services that I create, but we are working on a specific platform that will allow me to jump on conference calls or video calls with an individual and be able to do follow-ups, because I think being able to guide someone that's starting at the very early age in the right direction is going to be very beneficial. And I want to make sure that I can make it accessible for people at a very early age. And like we know, like not every entrepreneur or not every investor has, have hundreds of, if not thousands of dollars to throw away in a video call that they might not see value in. So I think the best way to do that is to build a structured type of like video call that is efficient and effective for both me and the investor and entrepreneur, and making sure that it's accessible for everyone. So that's what I'm working on, and that's something that I'm gonna follow up with. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I don't have anything established yet, but it is something that I'm working on. So I hope you guys understand that. So Mitchell says, you better not end the video. Oh no, am I in trouble? So Mitchell's asking me, you are married, aren't you? Why don't you live with your wife? I am not married. If you're asking about the picture that's on my Instagram, it's my cover picture. That was for a magazine that me and my girlfriend did for Cinco de Mayo. So for those that are asking, if I was married, I'd be wearing a ring, and I'm not married. My girlfriend doesn't wear a ring because we're not married. But thank you for the suggestion. Yeah, she does not live with me, and when we are married, I can guarantee you she will be living with me. Yeah. My roommate just said, yeah, right. This is Sergio.
Okay.
This is Sergio. Sergio says he's gonna live with me forever. So
let's go.
That's the thing. So James Bond is asking me, how much will I charge for my platform, and or how much am I going to be charging? So I want you guys to know that the TechBud Solutions platform that I'm going to be moving, that's going to offer discussions and direct messages and like real chats, everything that we offer now is going to be completely for free. Again, my whole point of TechBud Solutions is to make it accessible for everyone. So that's what I want you guys to know. When it comes down to this video conference, because I'm going to be dedicating hours of my time to this, I want it to be accessible for everyone and be worth it for the investor and entrepreneur, but be worth my time as well. So I wanted to make it as low cost as possible, but we haven't came up with a certain figure. I don't want it to be hundreds of dollars, and I don't want it to be thousands of dollars. So I'm working and looking at different people that are actively doing it and how I can do it better and how I can do it more efficiently. So that's something that I'm working on. So if you guys have any questions or any recommendations, then feel free to let me know. Understand that I don't expect everyone to jump on a conference call with me because it's not realistic, right? I have thousands, we just broke 40,000 subscribers within YouTube. We have over 36,000 members within TechBud Solutions. Just imagine the time that I'd have to dedicate if I were to do this for free. I'd see no return, and I wouldn't be able to dedicate my time to any of my other businesses. So I wanted to be efficient and be worth the investor's time, but I needed to be worth my time as well. But within the means of understanding that I'm doing something good for the other individual as well as myself, because not only like I've been doing it for free when I go and meet up with people like at Cane's, and I tell the whole group that, look, I'm meeting up at Cane's or I'm meeting up at Starbucks with just random people within my area. And I do that because I grow as an individual, because I learn from, their own experience and their own knowledge. And that's why I do it. So that's really just it. Ricky, please do a DD and risk management on marriage. Oh, dude, you're hilarious. My girlfriend's going to kill me if she sees me talking about that. So but that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it at. I do want to let you guys know that I think on the 11th of and you guys can direct message me, those that are part of the TechBud Solutions group already and in the Discord group chat, direct message me for those that are in Florida. I'm going to be, I don't know what airport I'm going to be landing at, but I think it's like MCN or something like that. It's like near Orlando, and I'm going to be there for 3 days. So for those that are in Florida, feel free to direct message me, and if you're within the area, I'd love to meet up. But other than that, I'm going to end it here. I want to thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope 55% of marriages fail. That's okay. I understand that, but understand that it's definitely, I appreciate that statistic. We'll just leave it like that. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope you guys have an amazing day. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. And guys, like when it comes down to wanting to be successful in anything, just plan out your success, how you're going to be successful, provide your own unique twist to it, and be driven by your passion, because the money will come, and success will come when you're truly passionate about something, because other people will see how passionate you are and how much drive you have, as long as you're at least somewhat good at what it is that you're doing. So I want to thank you guys for everything it is that you guys do. Continue working hard, continue doing what it is that you love, and like always, guys, let's make sure that we end the year on a green out. Take care, guys.